Alright, if you're gearing up for the CUET political science exam, you know the pressure's on. But what if I told you that assing it isn't about memorizing every single date? What if it's about thinking smarter? Well, let's dive into a strategic guide that's going to help you conquer this thing. This is the $1 million question, isn't it? It's what keeps students like you up at night. But the answer, well, it might just surprise you. It has a lot less to do with brute force and a whole lot more to do with strategy. Okay, first things first, let's bust a huge myth. Right now, this exam is not a test of how many facts you can cram into your brain. No, it's designed to see if you can connect the dots to see the cause and effect between events. It's all about building what we call conceptual linkages. So, to get you there, here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start by cracking the quick code itself. Then we'll get into a smart priority study system. After that, we'll master the different question types. And finally, I'm going to give you a solid blueprint for your success. Let's kick things off with part 1, cracking the code. See, to really do well, you have to get inside the head of the people who made the exam. You have to understand its fundamental nature because it's built to reward a very specific way of thinking. So, what on earth are these conceptual linkages? It's simple, really. It's about understanding the why behind things, not just the what. And get this, in the exam, you have just 45 minutes to answer 50 questions. That's intense. You get 5 points for a right answer, but you lose 1 for a wrong one. So the stakes are high. And believe me, every single second counts. This slide really gets to the heart of it. You will find 0 questions that just ask you to define this term. It's not going to happen. Instead, they'll hit you with something like, which treaty was signed after the 1971 war? This forces you to place that fact inside its proper historical context. It's a critical shift in thinking.
Now, hold on. Before we go any further, I need to make something absolutely crystal clear. This priority plan we're discussing is based on patterns from previous year's papers. It's a fantastic time saving strategy, especially if you're feeling the pressure. And this is very important, if you have enough time, please study the entire syllabus. This is about being strategic, not about cutting corners. So,
Okay, now for the core strategy with a mountain of topics to cover, where do you even begin? This is where the priority study system comes in. It's a simple but powerful idea, the 63-10 rule. Let's start with the biggest piece of the pie, 60%. This is where you need to pour the majority of your energy, focusing on the handful of topics that absolutely positively dominate the paper. And here they are, your high priority zones. You want to spend 60% of your time absolutely mastering nation building, the emergency era, the Congress system crisis, South Asian conflicts, and the end of the Cold War. These topics are the bedrock of the exam. They're often packed with chronology questions, and honestly, they're what separate the top scores from everyone else. All right, next up, the next 30% of your study time. These are your medium priority topics. Now, they're still super important and they definitely show up, but they just don't carry the same weight as that first group. So, these medium priority areas include things like land development, India's external relations, and those regional aspirations like the Dravidian and Assam movements. You'll also see global institutions and the impacts of globalization here. For these, you really want to focus on the outcomes and the why behind key policies like how did the Planning Commission actually shape India's economy, or how did regional movements change our federal structure. You need a solid grasp here. And finally, we have that last 10%. These are the lower priority topics. You should definitely cover them, but only after you feel confident with the first 2 tiers. Think of this as the final polish on your preparation, covering things that pop up less frequently. Now listen up, because this is a golden rule. If you're short on time, this is for you. Mastering just 3 of those high priority topics, that's nation building. The emergency era and South Asia can make up almost 45% of the entire paper. That's an incredibly powerful way to focus your efforts. So now that we know what to study, let's talk about how you're going to be tested, because it's not just about what you know, but how they ask it. Understanding the exam's language, the different types of questions, is absolutely crucial. A quick look at this chart tells a big story. Yeah, most questions are your standard MQs. But look closer. A massive bar is 20% of the paper is something else entirely. You're going to face comprehension, passages, statement, evaluations, chronology, puzzles, and matching questions. And each one requires a slightly different skill. And here is the strategic insight. The key takeaway, those chronology and statement evaluation questions, they only make up about 16% of the paper. But trust me, they are often the toughest, and they are the ones that decide the top ranks. This is where students who truly get the connections pull away from the pack. So, how do you beat these tough chronology questions? It's a 3-step playbook. First, find an anchor event, one date or event you know for sure. Second, link the other events to it causally. Ask yourself what happened because of this. And third, practice sequencing them backwards from the most recent to the earliest. It really builds your mental flexibility. All right, we've gone through the what and the how. Now it's time to put it all together. Section 4. This is your personal blueprint for success. This is your action plan to get into that 95th percentile and beyond. Think of this as your ultimate cheat sheet. On the left, the stuff you absolutely have to do. Always link events, practice chronology every single day, and keep an error log of your mistakes. On the right, the traps you have to avoid. Do not memorize dates by themselves. Don't you dare skip those tough statement questions, and never ever practice without a timer. Speed is everything. So here is how you can put this into action with a simple yet incredibly powerful 60-minute daily routine. 25 minutes on timeline revision, 20 minutes practicing a mix of question types, 10 minutes on comprehension analysis, and a final crucial 5 minutes reviewing that error log consistency. Here is the real key. Now, I promised you a blueprint, and every good plan needs a secret weapon, right? Well, this is it. This is the key to unlocking a huge chunk of marks before you even walk into that exam hall. Here they are, 3 high yield chronologies that the exam loves to test again and again. You need to master the chain of events from 1967 to 77, from 83 to 91, and that global shift from 1980 to 91. If you know these 3 timelines cold, you could have 15 or more questions in the bag before you even touch the rest of the paper.
This is an absolute must have. So, how does it do that? Well, first, you have the gap fixer. This is like your own personal AI tutor. It actually diagnoses your specific weaknesses. Are you struggling with inference questions in RC or maybe a certain type of vocabulary? Gap fixer pinpoints the exact problem so you can work on it instead of wasting time on stuff you already know. And then you've got Tony, your 24/7 AI buddy. We've all been there, right? It's 2 a.m., you're stuck on a doubt, and there's no one to ask. Well, Tony is there to instantly clear that doubt and explain the concept. It makes learning so much more stress free. You can go to a movie, attend a friend's birthday, and when you're ready to study again, Tony is there waiting for you. And that's not all. There's Pace, which trains you to be both fast and accurate, because one without the other is useless. The exam room gives you incredibly realistic AI simulated mock tests. Plus, all the previous year questions, you get detailed reports and analytics to track your progress. And there's the ETL library for extra help. But honestly, your own study material is more than enough. Use the library only if you've got some spare time.
So let's boil it all down into one simple formula: consistent daily timeline practice plus drilling all the different question types plus a methodical analysis of your errors. That right there, that is the equation that gets you to a top tier score. Because ultimately, that's what this is all about. This exam isn't about collecting facts, it's about seeing patterns. It rewards a student who can see the big picture. So the only real question is, are you ready to train your brain to start connecting the dots?